Hi guys. Okay, so sorry I can't be here today. Again, had to go off and be a mom, but I wanted to give you guys specific instructions on what you need to do today. So if you watch this entire video, you'll know what to do so we can keep on track for having the final draft due by Friday. So if you take a look here, on Tuesday we did peer review and small groups, and those of you who hadn't finished the draft yet got your draft done and in as much as possible. Wednesday, that's today, we're going to be talking about rhetorical and literary devices. All right, and I'm going to walk you through what you need to do in order to complete today's assignment. Just scrolling down to grab what we need. All right, so for today's workshop, we're going to review anaphora, metaphor, simile, and hyperbole. Now, more than likely you've heard of all of these prior to now, being seniors. If you haven't, that's okay. I'm going to give you examples and you'll know what I'm talking about. Then we're going to walk through some practice and examples, and then you guys will be instructed to revise your personal narrative draft to include 3 to 4 rhetorical and literary devices by the end of the class period. So you need to buckle down, find 3 to 4 spots that you can add one of these into your short story. Okay, so that you have 3 to 4 in your personal narrative. All right, so this is what we're going to be covering here. You see on the personal narrative rubric, it says rhetorical and literary devices. A variety, 4 or more, of rhetorical and literary devices are used effectively and purposefully. They enhance the significance and/or theme of the narrative. All right, that's what today's is really going to help us. It'll help us with significance as well, but rhetorical and literary devices, you're literally getting graded on this, so make sure that you include those in there. Pretty straightforward. All right, so we're gonna watch this video on anaphora. I'm actually going to drop it into the this whole doc will also be within the week's stuff, so you guys can take the time to watch it again if you need to. All right, you guys. So all of those are examples of anaphora. So what is anaphora? It is the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. So with MLK, we had, I have a dream. And he would start the beginning of his clauses, his sentences with, I have a dream. And then we had JFK, who at his inauguration was for us. Or wait, no, for us was Obama. Um, let both sides. That was JFK's. Sorry, I got them mixed up. Let both sides. And then in Berlin, for us, and I will be a president, were all from President Obama's speeches, where that repetition is driving home the fact that what they're saying is important. What they're repeating it for a reason, and that's anaphora. And it's always at the beginning of the sentence. It's always at the beginning of the successive clauses, and they're right next to each other. They're not necessarily separated because then it loses a lot of the point of it. So that's anaphora. That's one you could use. Here are two others. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these, metaphors and similes. So metaphors are where you compare two things that aren't alike but have something in common. So my heart was a startled bird flapping its wings against my rib cage. So this one is where the heart is literally a bird, which it isn't, but it's making the comparison between the two. So it's not literally a bird, but they're comparing it to a bird directly. Simile, it has the same result, but it uses the words like or as. So if we were to turn what was written as a metaphor into a simile, it would be, my heart was flapping like the wings of a startled bird. So this is another option for you guys. This is two more literary devices that you could use. Next is hyperbole. Hyperbole is really commonly used within American English. It is extravagant exaggeration. So it's where you make a description that is so over the top in comparison to what it actually is. It makes it it brings to mind a certain image, and it's obviously extravagant. It's not something that is subtle. So, for example, mile high ice cream cones. Ice cream cones aren't literally a mile high, but they're really high, and we know that they're very high. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Well, you're not gonna eat a horse. That's kind of crazy, but I'm so hungry means you're in this instance, you're really, really hungry. I am so angry I could explode. Well, you're not going to combust. So you're obviously just really, really angry. So hyperbole, extravagant exaggeration. These ones are always kind of fun to work on. So here's some practice sentences. Instead of saying I didn't fit in, you could say I was so different from everyone else, I might as well have been an alien. Much more interesting, same end goal of talking about not fitting in, but it was interesting. I was so different from my classmates that I felt like the pin in a whack-the-mole game at the state fair. So this one even pulls in maybe some local information. And of course, this is a simile because we've got the like. And it's a much more interesting take than just saying I didn't fit in. So here's some practice. The woods were pitch black. There was no light from the moon. There was no light from the stars. There was no light from anywhere. So we have our anaphora there, right? Beginning of the clauses, have it repeated. Definitely makes it much more impactful. So here's another one. My mom waved goodbye and I didn't see her again for 3 months. My mom waved goodbye. My heart was a rock while I waved from the window. So there we go. We have a metaphor here. Their heart is obviously not literally a rock, but it feels like it. And that's the description that they're giving. So as you guys can see here, and you can go back and look at the files if you want to have specific instructions on each one again. But remember, you need to go into your narrative now. All right, your personal narrative that you've already written, and you need to find 3 to 4 places in your narrative, and you're going to replace or revise it with those literary and or rhetorical devices. We do suggest, because the best place to find these and to have the most impact is in moments of strong feeling, reaction, or internal or external conflict. When emotions are really high, it's a really good time to bring out those literary and rhetorical techniques, those devices. Okay, and remember 3 to 4 places, and try to use as many different ones as possible to vary it, because if you use 3 similes back to back, it may be kind of repetitious and you don't want that. So try to get 3 to 4 places in your narrative um, to get those literary devices put in there to earn those points. Okay? If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. But I look forward to seeing what you guys have done when I come back on Thursday. All right, we'll talk to you soon.